Welcome to my tutorial on multiplication and division of negative numbers. Before we can start this, we need to know the rules for multiplying and dividing negatives, and they're fairly straightforward. If you have got a negative and you're multiplying it by a positive in either order, it will give you a negative answer. If you have got a positive and you're multiplying it by a positive, it will give you a positive answer. If you've got a negative and you're multiplying a negative by a negative, that will also give you a positive answer. Now these rules hold for division as well in exactly the same way. So if you've got a negative and you're dividing it by a positive in either order, that's going to give you a negative answer. If you've got a positive and you're dividing it by a positive, it will give you a positive answer. But if you've got a negative that you are dividing by a negative, that will also give you a positive answer. So let's have a look at a couple of examples here. If you've got negative 3 and you're multiplying it by 4, although the 4 hasn't got a positive sign in front of it, if it hasn't got a negative sign, we know it's a positive. So we've got a negative multiplied by a positive, and we know that's going to give us a negative answer, and 3 times 4 gives us 12. Second example. Let's say we've got negative 6 and we're dividing that by negative 2. We've now got a negative divided by a negative. Negative divided by negative is going to give us a positive answer. And 6 divided by 2 gives us 3. So our answer becomes positive 3. If it's a positive, we don't have to write the plus, we just write 3. One more, e.g. 3. Let's say we've got, negative 5, and we're multiplying this by negative 7. We've now got a negative multiplied by a negative, which gives us a positive answer. I'm not going to write the plus down this time because I know I don't need to. Okay, so 5 times 7 gives me 35. We know it's positive because it's negative times negative. Now one more thing that you do need to know is what happens when you're squaring numbers. For example, if you've got, say, negative 2 and you're squaring it. Now negative 2 squared really means negative 2 multiplied by negative 2. And we know that a negative multiplied by a negative gives us a positive answer. So 2 times 2 gives us 4. So any negative, when you square it, will give you a positive answer. What about when you cube it? Well, let's say you've got negative 2 and you've got to find negative 2 cubed. Well, this time, this is the same as saying negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2, this bit here, we already know gives us a positive 4. Now we're multiplying a positive 4 that we get from this answer here by a negative 2. 4 times 2 gives us 8, but this time the 4 is positive and the 2 is negative. A positive multiplied by a negative gives us a negative answer. So 4 times negative 2 gives us my answer of negative 8. So you need to remember that when you're squaring a negative, it gives you a positive answer, but when you're cubing a negative, it gives you a negative answer.